But anyway, let me hop in. Speaking of punting off money, here's a hand that I played extraordinarily poorly. I think I made one good decision in it. Actually, two. I think I might have maybe played 2 streets okay, but I know that's like half.
There's only 4 streets, so
I know, but the 2 in the middle I really played so badly that it's the only reason why the river was okay. We're playing 1-3, and the effective stack is going to be 500 in this hand. This is going to be from a guy who is, I would describe as relatively ABC. He's probably a little bit better than the average player. He's certainly, raising a decent amount, entering pots as the raiser. Seemed a little bit call happy over the course of the day, but definitely, pretty good. The other player is more of the loose passive type. I played a number of hands against him. He was running quite hot, where he was like limp calling and like running into hands left and right, kind of college kid sort of vibe.
Nice.
So we're playing 8-handed. It's an 8 max game at Chasers also, which is quite nice, I think. I like playing a little bit shorter handed.
8-handed is so much better than 9.
And in a 1-3 game with no straddle on, this particular player is going to be in middle position, which is also UTG +1. And he's going to he's going to open the action to 6.
Wow.
A huge raise.
So this is the ABC guy?
No, this is the passive guy, and he just seemed to be kind of clicking buttons a lot of the time. But I did notice one tendency is that he did a lot of donking when he had strong value. There was a different hand where I like raised him on the turn, and then he just donked. He had donked turn. I raised him on the turn, and then he donked river, and I was just forced to fold because I had a draw that missed. But I think he had some strong value there. But he raises to 6, which he had done a couple times. With varying hand strengths. He's been varying his raise sizes. The ABC player to his left in the low jack puts in another raise to 20, which is almost like a first raise at 1-3. Right. Like, I've seen people open to 20.
Yeah, I mean, so this is kind of like it's like a 3-bet, but not.
Yeah, it's basically like a straddle and an open almost.
Yeah.
And now I am in the cutoff with 6 of clubs, 6 of diamonds.
Okay.
And I elect to just call here. I don't think anyone is going to be doing a whole lot of 4-betting behind me, and I'm definitely getting the odds, sitting 500 deep with the aggro player and 750 deep with the middle position player.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think you can mix in some raises here for sure. I might tend to raise here just to try to drive the early position player out and possibly just pick up the pot if we think that low jack is just making a move. But I mean, calling can't be that bad. So for the reasons you stated, so you have 6 of clubs, 6 of diamonds.
Correct. Right? Yeah, and if there were aggressive players behind me or people who were more likely to squeeze if I did this, I could probably also find some folds with this hand. I mean, to an open, just if that. But that wasn't the case. The people to my left were pretty standard. There were not many 4-bets without like aces and kings in this game. And it folds all the way back around to that original opener who makes the call. So we're going 3 ways with about 60 in the pot after rake. Well, we'll call it 60. And the flop comes out quite favorable for us. It comes out 10 of hearts, 8 of diamonds, 6 of spades.
Ah, very nice. Bottom set.
So we flop bottom set in a multi-way pot. And things go, and this is where things get a little bit interesting, as the middle position player now leads out for 50. Which is almost a pot-sized bet, and something, as I mentioned, he's definitely done in the past with pretty thick value. And then the low jack calls.
And we're in cutoff, right?
And we're sitting in the cutoff, so we are in position. And my thought here is that I can flat call here, given that we're in position. There's not a whole lot of cards that we need protection against, although there obviously are some. And it was quite a large sizing taken by the middle position player.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think that middle position can have some 2 pairs here, to be
Absolutely.
fair. I also think ace-10 is a possibility. I mean, if we think about the sort of bullshit raises that someone might do, like raising to 6, like what are the hands? Is like ace-10. Like I don't really think 9-7 is very likely. Like
I do think he probably could have at least 9-7 suited.
I think
in
it's
this one.
possible, but I just see like I don't see a lot of bullshit raises with that kind of hand. I would see like a limp most often, or like from a competent player, maybe obviously people open that hand sometimes, although probably not under the gun +1. Um, I I guess I'm thinking that we have the best hand, and I want to shovel money in this pot. I mean, if we call here, the pot's going to be like a hair over 250, right? And
A hair over 200, I think.
I'm sorry, a hair over 200. That's right. And we're going to have 430 behind. We'll have two pot-sized bets left. Versus if we raise now, we make it like 200. Let's just say. Probably don't have any thin value raises on the board, so you could even go like 250. But let's say if you did 200, and you get one caller, you're looking at like 460 in the pot, and you have like a little over, like maybe a 2/3 pot size bet behind, which I think is quite nice. Like, I don't know. I think I would like to raise here personally.
I think you're probably right. I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I don't know. The other thing is, if we made it like 250, I don't know that we're gonna get called a whole lot by like king 10 or like even ace 10. Like, might just be a fold to such a big raise.
Possible. Yeah, I don't love. I think 250 would also just screw up stack sizes. I think 200 is the number.
Yeah, and I was kind of thinking, if I call, I keep bluffs in, like I keep the low jack. I kind of keep both players in also, where we might be able to get better action. But ultimately, I think just trying to raise, like, get stacks in with one of the players is probably a more profitable scenario. So I don't really know why I called, but I was like, actually, like, my hand is, it's quite good, but there are definitely hands that both players can have that beat me. I don't mind keeping both players. Like, I don't need a ton of protection, but I mean, there are a number of draws out there too, like Jack 9, even something like 10-9, 8-7, 8-9, stuff like that might call a raise, especially sort of in live poker where people love calling with pair plus draws.
Right.
Even when the hand is actually not that strong and doesn't have a lot of equity against what I'm representing.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and I want to raise. I really do want to raise here. I don't even love taking it. Like, I don't know. Like, if you're in a situation where you're going to get called a bunch for like 2 more streets by 2 more people, I start to wonder whether we're even good anymore. Like, I would rather get this heads up.
Yeah, and I know. I think it just has to be a raise. I mean, we made a set, and it's like there's action in front of us. Let's just shovel money in. But I don't.
Also, we're never folding. We're never folding. So, like, what the heck, So, all right, but go ahead.
So we again, mistake number 1. I did warn you. Warn you that this hand was an absolute dumpster fire on my part. So I call, and we're gonna go see a turn. We got about 2x pot behind, and the turn comes an interesting one. It's the Queen of Clubs. Okay. Not my favorite card in the world. Jack 9
gets there. Sure.
Jack 9 gets there. I mean, it's possible that the low jack could have pocket queens, but obviously that's not a lot of combos, but it is a hand.
I don't really see how either player has Jack 9 here. I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't think either of them do. Like, if you think about, like, again, I mean, I don't really think he's donking $50 with Jack 9. That doesn't, like, donking for almost pot with Jack 9. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And then if you think about, like, low jack, is he making it 20 over that weird raise with Jack 9 suited? Like, maybe, but probably not. He's probably just calling or folding. I don't know.
Yeah, I think middle position, the original raiser to 6 is more likely to have Jack 9. Like, it might just be something that it's like, oh yeah, that sound looks fun. Like, 6, like, and then he has a straight draw and just decides to donk. Like, it's certainly in his range, I would say. But now he leads for 60 on this turn.
Okay, well now we know he doesn't have Jack 9.
And the low jack calls again.
Okay, I mean, I want to just rip it here, right?
Yeah, and at this point, I'm kind of thinking, like, if I rip it, am I getting any action? Because
the pot is now is like 330. So you're, yeah.
And it's weird because if I jam, it's also worth noting that the middle position player has more behind. So at this point, after the call, the low jack has 370, and then the middle position player has 620. So I don't know. I don't know that I would jam. I'd probably have to raise, to like 400 or I don't know. I mean, maybe I can just jam, but that seems like
you probably aren't going to jam. I mean, Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I wonder if you can almost like now. I'm wondering, could we almost like click it where like I want to make it big enough that LJ folds, and we get it heads up with the UTG +1, and then we get it all in on the river. That's what I'm thinking if I'm in your spot. So maybe we make it like 200.
Yeah, that might be. I was kind of thinking. I mean, I totally agree that I definitely have to raise here, but I don't.
Okay.
Just this, as I said, this hand was just atrociously played by me. I was kind of thinking, I'm really kind of kicking myself on this turn. I was like, wow, I really had to raise the flop because like this is like a straightening card. It just looks so strong to raise here. Like it's kind of something that we talk about a lot in poker is like it's so much better to raise flops than turns a lot of the time, just because like if you call flop raise turn, it's just such like a wildly strong play a lot of the time.
I don't know if I agree with you, but I actually have started to try to do that more because I've been trying because like you get more bluffs through that way too. But,
that's true. Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean I don't know what I would be bluff. Like this is a weird board to bluff on. Like maybe I'd be like I don't know. I'm probably not. I don't know if I'm calling a pot size bet on the flop with 8-9, and then like turning that into a bluff here, double gutted like.
And there's no
flush draw. It's complete rainbow.
Flush draw. I mean, yeah, 8-9 is probably like the most likely hand.
Like if I wanted to bluff, just thinking about. I mean, not that I need to be balanced in this scenario against these players. Probably can exploitatively raise significantly more value.
Yeah, sure. I mean, that's fair. You can always. I mean, I do like to think about at least how we would be balanced in theory. I mean, you might have Jack 8 with a backdoor on the flop, possibly, maybe. That'd be kind of weird, but I think pair plus double backdoor possibly.
Yeah, maybe 8-9. I might have 8-9 or 7-8 because I probably wouldn't be flatting pre-flop with Jack 8.
Jack 8 suited. Yeah,
you probably would not be flatting the the raise and then I probably wouldn't be calling 20 from the cutoff. Would probably have to just fold that hand, but possibly some 9-8, 8-7.
Also, like Ace-6 suited, possible.
Yeah, ace, but I mean that hand doesn't have that much equity. Is the other annoying part,
right,
especially
you
if you
have some like low to no equity bluffs when you're in these spots where there aren't that many logical bluffs.
That's true.
So you're blocking a set there. Anyway, we're getting super nerdy. So
I mean, really, I think I should have raised the flop, but as played, I think I probably should just raise the turn and try and get a heads up because now it is kind of a dicey board, and there are a lot of cards that are just gonna make me vomit.
Yeah, you're not gonna like a lot of cards.
Yeah, but I just call.
Okay.
I don't fold, so it's not an unforgivable sin.
If you folded, you'd have. I don't even know. I'd be disappointed in you, Josh. I wouldn't be mad. I'd be disappointed.
You'd need like the biggest read of all time to make a fold here. But I just call, and it is just like a really. I mean, I really just had to raise one of these streets. But the river now confirms. I mean, is one of those terrible cards that makes me vomit. It's the Jack of Diamonds.
Okay.
So there's now a one-liner to a 9.
Yeah.
And now the middle position player bets 125, and once again the low Jack calls.
All right, you just have to muck this.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I think at this point it's like, wow. I mean, either I was beat earlier, which I agree seems unlikely. Like, given that he bet so small on the turn, like, definitely. I mean, he bet large on the flop, but I can still raise. Something that I've been trying to work on more is like, raising large sizings, because I know that theoretically you really shouldn't do a whole lot of raising on like large sizings. But people don't actually use large sizings correctly in like live games, because if a bet is polarized where they're really representing like a very strong hand or a bluff, there's not a ton of like value to be gained from raising. But this player probably is not polarizing correctly.
Sure. I mean, he's certainly. Wouldn't call this bet a polarizing bet. It's not very large.
No, I just meant on the flop and sort of in general, because
sure. Yeah, for sure.
That's what I mean is
I wouldn't call. I wouldn't call his bet polarizing. I don't know when live players donk, but I mean he could even have something that he perceives as extremely strong, like 10-8, like on the flop.
That's true.
I think right now. By the way, if low Jack had folded, I do like a call here because we're beating Jack 10, which is a hand he would absolutely play this way. So,
Yeah, I agree. But really, I think it all comes down to I just needed to raise on the flop when, like, there is the best opportunity to just pile money in against worse hands. So I don't know what I was thinking. This was just like a real brain fart moment. But that's why we have this podcast, so we can talk about these and laugh at each other.
Yeah, I do think it's interesting that like LoJack just calls here. Like I feel like he's got to have he's got to have the 8-9, right? Like what the hell else is he calling with here? I mean, if neither player has a straight, I will be shocked.
Right, or he has maybe he has run into like queen queen or jack jack or something.
Mm-hmm. Also possible.
Right, but he's definitely I do fold here. Like I tank for a while in like agony and I'm like, how could I possibly have let this happen to myself? Like what an absolute buffoon I am.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Like
no, for sure. I mean this is a questionably played hand. I'm sorry to say.
No, did I not lead by saying that. But anyway, we fold, and the middle position player proudly shows King 10 offsuit.
Beautiful.
And the middle position player shows Ace 9 of clubs.
Love it.
So,
yeah,
you know,
you have these guys smoked, Josh.
I know, and you know, it kind of did. That's another reason why I was kind of thinking, you know, if a lot of middle positions range is kind of top pairs, because as we know, donks are often top pair, and larger donks maybe less weighted towards top pairs, but certainly still some amount. You know, are those hands calling a hefty raise on the flop? And I don't know that the answer is yes on such a kind of coordinated board.
The way this guy played this hand, he was calling. He was calling your raise. He was calling your turn bet. He might even call a river shove.
Well, I think we would have set up a turn shove. So
right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, you were getting max value from this guy.
So yeah, at the end of the day, it was just not a correctly played hand. I mean, I did realize that after. I was like, wow, this is gonna be a great podcast hand. You know, for all I complain about how I've been running bad this year, I also have hands like this where maybe I, you know, where I really force myself to run bad.
Yeah, I know, it's okay, it happens. But yeah, I mean, I think slow playing a set, by the way, is not always a mistake. Certainly on certain board textures, and a lot of times from the middle also, because you can let someone in behind you. If you're in a multi-way spot and you can slow play it from the middle. I found that on certain board textures, it can actually be quite a large error to raise the flop with a set in the middle. Like, I think there are a lot of hands behind that you can get action from where you just won't. So I do think slow playing a set is, if you're going to slow play something, like sets are probably not a bad thing to slow play, but not on a board like this, first of all, and not being in position. And not against this action also. So.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think I was you know, trying to get a little bit too fancy, definitely to my detriment. But anyway, as you see, great game where we have this you know, a guy who leads 3 streets with like a 10 without the best kicker, and a guy who calls with a gut shot and then a double gutter with the guy behind him. So it was certainly a great table. I did wind up. I mean, I feel like this hand notwithstanding, it did work out okay. But yeah, that was a fun one. Should we move on?